Welcome to the Law, Your Money, and You. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is not the Tonight Show. This is the Law, Your Money, and You. And it's Camille and Roberta. And we're doing one of our behind the scenes that you all seem to love, and we love to do it too. So welcome, Camille.
And welcome, Roberta.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
well, we have lots of things to talk about today, don't we?
Yeah, well, we ought to first catch up on, they'll see out here are the books. We keep doing them. We're getting
How many
lots
towns
of
do we have these books live in now?
live and now, I think is 11, but Stowe
Wow.
is being printed. It's done today. Mansfield is on its way. I'll tell you a funny story. I went to a wedding in Mansfield. The police officer that I've known since he was 12 and who still can spell receive. That's a joke. But anyway, there was 2 tables of police officers there. I think the Mansfield, here's the Mansfield book. This is one of the pages there. So anyway, I showed them the book, and they all want to be in it. So we're going to put their pictures in there. But that's the beauty. It's custom made.
It is beautiful.
And I think we're going to be doing Sharon, another one for Sharon.
Another
the
one?
second one.
Really?
Yeah. And
Well, for those people who may not be that familiar with this was just an idea, I think, that just sort of came, right? It just sort of popped.
It started out of our campaign against cyberbullying.
Yep.
And what was going on. It was your idea on the police protection. What's happening with the police all over the country.
Well, yes, with all of the press out there and communities in chaos sometimes, communities at conflict with each other because of violence and so forth. So this idea just kind of took a life of its own. It's an amazing thing where we put together a police officers are our friends activity book for children.
Yeah, now the book you're looking at, we put together, that's the final draft, so to speak, final review, and then after that, that's how it's printed.
And this was printed initially for one town, Sharon, and the idea is that it's to get children to think about the police in their community as friends, as people who are there to help them and keep them out of trouble. And it gives a lot of fun things for the kids to do, like coloring and just a lot of things that young children
Mazes.
enjoy. And the nice thing about it is that these are customized for each community, where it has pictures of the police officers and other ways of making it tailored to that particular community.
Yeah. And like there's some fun pictures on it. Some of the towns have their honor guard. A lot of people don't know about a police honor guard. That's very, very important.
Yes,
Yeah.
and maybe our chief in Sharon wouldn't mind if we told a little story about him and the picture that he had when he was a child.
Okay, you tell it.
How old was he at the time?
6.
He had a picture in his office, correct?
Right. He still has it there.
And it was a picture of a police officer.
No, he drew a picture of a police car, I think.
A police car.
And he wanted to be a policeman.
He wanted to be a policeman
when he was 6 years
when he was
old.
6 years old, and he's been a policeman. I don't know how many
for
years.
Many
And now he's the
years.
police chief. And he agreed that we could use that picture. Was it the back page of
It was the
the
back
back
page.
page of the coloring book? And it just shows how inspired some of the youth can be when they see something like that.
Yes, and from that, what's very interesting about police officers, they have to go to school. A lot of them they have to get degrees, and they just don't become police officers and then get promoted. They have to be educated. And they're very watchful of all of them, no matter whether we have a town of 4,000 or a city of over 100. Their complaint is always that the mother will see them walking by and say to the kid, if don't behave, we'll call the police on you. They hate that. They want to have, that's why there's so many ice cream things where police give out ice cream. They do this, they do that. Today
Yeah.
they have school resource officers.
Sure.
And in every school every school, they all love this school resource
And did
officer.
just about every school have these now?
I think it's mandated. The Lawyer Money and You was also doing a survey on every school district in Massachusetts. I think there were 700 of them. And part of it, we were working with the Mark Center, which is Massachusetts Aggression Reduction Center from Bridgewater State.
Yes.
And working with them to find out who had a program and who didn't. Because by law, Massachusetts, by law, every school has to have a program against cyberbullying. So that, because there's so many kids that commit suicide and
It's
things
awful.
from it. Yeah, a lot of kids don't want to go to school because they're being abused.
Sure.
And tortured, really, at that age, it's torture. So we're really working this, and then came the book, but we also brought financial literacy.
We brought financial literacy to the local school, and it's now something that happens every year.
And we're working with Tony Coyer, who does a life math, to do a program. He's with Cedric Turner, who has another one, Empower Yourself, and part of the economic development. So we're really all over for a small group. We can use more volunteers.
We could, yes, because obviously, just the two of us alone couldn't have accomplished all of this
Oh no,
ourselves.
we had help.
We had a lot of help.
One of the things we wanted to talk about was the latest in scams. And
Which is another thing that the police are really, really good about. I mean, a lot of us are on Facebook and we see that the police will post something, watch out for this thing
yeah.
and watch out for that thing.
Well, the banks too. Like every bank, I don't know if people realize it, but every bank has a fraud division, whether they call it fraud or scams or whatever it is, and they get together with other banks, like what's the latest scam? Now, today, we were going to talk about the latest scams, but the latest scams are also some of the oldest scams. The one about the grandparents, somebody calls them up, the grandson needs money, and meanwhile it's not even their grandson, and they're told to take the money out. That's a still one. The one going around really lately is the IRS calls you, except it's not the IRS. People, the IRS does not call you. They're not going to call you. They're not going to email you. So if somebody calls and says they're from the IRS, you owe money, and then if you're smart enough to say, well, give me the number to call, they're giving you a wrong number. Don't fall for it.
That's been going on for quite a while, hasn't it? I'm surprised they're still doing it.
Because the people are
People
falling
are still
for
falling
it.
for it.
People are falling for it. I mean, let's face it, most of the people probably owe money.
Right.
And so they think, well, I'm going to go to jail, I'm going to do this. So that's one scam. Another scam, which really drives me crazy, you put do not call, is the one where now the latest thing is they're using a local number.
Oh, I know.
Local exchange.
I know.
So you think it's
It's got to be somebody local, and maybe it's somebody you know, maybe it's somebody who knows somebody you know.
And then what they're doing too is using a recording that, don't hang up, I meant to call you earlier, and you after a while it's a scam. But what they do is, somebody else told us, because we had a whole group come to us, we had a scam meeting about a few weeks ago, and everybody brought what they got hit with, what they do is they call up if they can get you to say the word yes, like, is this Mrs. So-and, is this so-and-so? Yes. Then they take that and they put it over another thing, like, do you want to charge this? Yes. Are you there? Yes. So that's a scam. Then another one, this is the funniest. It's not the funniest, it's really, you've got to be kidding. Our property manager, Rick, he is excellent on computers. He has a father who he says, if anybody calls you with this, don't do it. This is a scam. Don't do it. I'll set you up and this and that. His father falls for them over and over again. The one, have you got a call from Microsoft? They say they're Microsoft.
Oh, yes. They need to remote access your computer.
Yeah, and take
to
control.
fix something. Yeah.
That's a scam. They're not from Microsoft. How about the ones who said, we got a notice and we are calling you to fix the computer if you let us. So they ask you, and you say yes. So they're, quote, legitimate, but you're paying them, and meanwhile you don't need it.
Yeah.
So that's another scam.
Yeah, I mean, they just keep.
Didn't the IRS call you, or you
They,
didn't you
they,
get
they,
one of
they, I
those?
got a call last week, as recently as last week. And of course, I don't pick up, but
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
they leave messages saying.
Oh, they do leave
They do
messages?
leave
I didn't know
messages.
that.
I don't know if it's a robo message or a real person, but they do leave messages. And if you have somebody visiting you and they listen, and the phone
Yeah.
machine is recording, you know how sometimes
Oh, yeah, they think
it'll be
they
out loud.
think you're,
So they think that you're.
They think you owe money.
Yeah, really. So yes, I think they say that they're calling, I don't know, on behalf of the Treasury Department or something like that. And I don't know if it's just that some people are not aware or they don't pay attention to these warnings that are out there.
Well, they probably owe some money in taxes, and they're just so afraid. I mean, I don't know why they do it. There are other ones out there too, like they're calling for the local organizations.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, local organizations don't do that. When you tell them you'll call them back, they don't have a place. Can you have the check ready? I'll be over in a half hour. Have you ever heard of those?
No, I haven't had that one. But, I wonder, I've heard people say that the do not call, when you get yourself on a do not call list, I don't know if you have to keep updating those lists. I've heard that you do, because I think people say that they put themselves on one of those lists, but then maybe months later they still start getting those same calls.
I think what happens, though, is they say, I remember talking to somebody, and they said, well, we're not selling you anything. We're just taking a survey.
And that's legal? That's legit?
I don't think any of them are. I think it's an indirect. Oh, the other scam is you've won a prize.
Oh, boy. Yeah. You won a prize or a cruise.
Yeah,
They've
a cruise.
called and said we.
Yeah.
If I had gone on all the cruises they told me I won, I'd never come back.
But
I'd have water legs by now.
I looked into one of those, and it was a free cruise, but you had to pay for the airline tickets, and the airline tickets were more than the cruise. You had that one?
No, I haven't had that one.
We've had one too. For those of you who are farming, like we're a 501c3, there are a lot of scams as to nonprofits. They tell you, we can do this for you, we can do that for you, we can do that for you, and you have to pay. Mm-hmm. But that's another one too. You've won a prize money, or you've won this, and there's a fee to get it. Mm-hmm. And mm-hmm. most of them are when you buy, even the registered deeds. We've had programs on recording things in the deeds and this. You can go get a copy of your deed and get just pay for the copy. I don't know whether it's $1 or $5, but you have people who go through and say, if you want a copy of your deed, we can get it for you. And sometimes they charge $25, sometimes they charge $50, but there's no need to pay for that when you can get it on your own.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, another scam. Well, it's not a scam, but it's a way, in every day, the way to save money. Like on, if you want one way to upgrade your kitchen. I have to talk about this. Mm-hmm. To upgrade the kitchen. I have this kitchen set, as probably a lot of people do, which I really like. And one by one, the chairs have been breaking. I had 6 chairs.
Yeah.
One by one. So somebody's in the house and they lean back and they go, oh, goodness. Oh, goodness, I hope you didn't hurt yourself. So one by one, the chairs have gone. And so now I need new chairs. And then people say, well, this is the thing, too. We did this once before, and everybody sent in the things. And they go, well, why don't you just get a new kitchen set? Well, I like the table because you can put stuff under it. So I finally got chairs, but the colors are wrong. So the thing is, do things have to match? That's the question. Mm-hmm. Because everything I have doesn't match. But sooner or later, won't it match if it sets no? You
don't gotta be kidding. I suppose if enough years go by, eventually you'll go through all the colors that possibly exist, and sooner or later one thing will match one other thing.
Well, do you remember when foil wallpaper was in?
Oh my goodness. You would not have wanted to see the bathroom in
Yeah,
my
the
house.
bathroom.
Foil wallpaper. Yeah, I liked it though.
I loved it. Well, what happened was we bought the foil paper, and then we moved, and then we never put it up because we didn't get around to it. You know that feeling. And I said, well, I'll hold on to it because it'll come back. Never came back.
Never came back. And maybe we should start a new trend.
Yeah, foil.
We could get the studio maybe to put foil
Oh yeah,
paper
foil
right behind
paper.
it.
That would look great. I don't have it. I bet it comes back.
I bet
Maybe in 100
eventually.
years?
Eventually. Well, that reminds me of remember the Harvest Gold appliances in the
Oh
kitchen,
yeah,
the refrigerator.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long, long time ago. But I have pictures of.
I'm trying
kitchen
to think.
Harvest
I don't
Gold.
have anything in Harvest Gold anymore.
Well, I have pictures of things, and I think I might even have an electric can opener still, or a blender that's still in the Harvest Gold. So it shows you how
Oh
old
wait
these
a
things
minute,
are.
I have an electric can opener that's Harvest Gold, but you can't tell that it's Harvest Gold.
can't.
Oh no, because it's up in the wall.
On the foil wallpaper, no wonder.
No foil. But isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So anyway, I want everybody to know, come to the house for the next meeting, and you'll see different chairs.
That's right.
But then I would tell my husband that I think the stuff's breaking because too many people are coming. This one is interesting. Oh, but we also had on the show once, like when people are selling their houses, if you do things over, and believe it or not, when people come to look at houses, they're really, in a way, looking at your furniture or what color the walls are, even though they're going to go in and repaint it. So for you people out there that are looking at a new house or a different house, try to picture it. Although it's sad, I can't picture things. I look at things, see them as they are. I can't picture beyond.
Well, yeah, and we did have a show on this a while back, but that's one of the reasons more and more people are having their homes staged.
Oh, yes,
Because
staged.
the idea is to have someone walk in and have things be sort of neutral in terms of colors or how much of a statement something makes.
Yeah, and
Because it
all
makes
the
it-
clutter is gone. That's why when you pass a house and you see the big pods, what are they called, pods,
Yeah.
outside, that's because all the stuff is in the pod.
Well, I'll tell you something. If I were to sell my house and had to get rid of the clutter, I think there would be 3 times as much that we were getting rid of than really belongs in the house. That we would need the whole yard to be a pod.
I don't understand how people don't have any clutter at all. I call them memories, but I don't understand how they have it. I
Well, you
mean,
know what happens? I can tell you what I do. And when my daughter was little, I got caught with this. But when she would be at school, we had the finished basement, and there were cabinets underneath with all the toys. And there were lots and lots of toys that she wasn't using anymore. So I would take the toys out and the things that she wasn't using and either give them away or throw them out if they were really in bad shape. And because they had been in a cabinet, the chances of her finding it right away wouldn't be that noticeable. Well, I was wrong.
Oh, why'd you give this away?
Yeah,
I love that.
I can't find
yeah,
this.
I've heard that.
I
love
can't
that.
find this particular thing. And she told me, I don't even remember this. This is how bad it was. But she told me that. She said, "I'll never forget the time, Mom, that you took all the stuffed animals off my bed and threw them away." This is one of the "Mom, you did me all this damage" kind of
Oh,
things.
yeah, yeah,
I don't
you
remember
did.
that. I don't remember at all. But I did
My
that.
daughter doesn't remember having any toys, so she would never say that. She has no memories at all. She says she's not saying that I didn't get her toys or books. She just doesn't remember it, so she's covered herself.
That's a good way to say it. It's a good way. You're not accusing anybody of anything.
No, as they get older, they get more diplomatic.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the other thing of getting rid of clutter is if you live in a house like mine and you have a husband like mine, you can try to throw things away, but he actually looks through the trash before it's thrown out. And pulls
Really?
things out if he doesn't think that they should be thrown out.
I know a way to cure that.
What?
throw coffee grounds over it.
Speaking of coffee grounds, this is you've got to be kidding.
Oh yeah, we're right. Almost.
Yeah,
there,
so
to be
so
kidding.
the other day I was at the office and someone I hadn't met, a woman that I hadn't met before, was sitting at our table for lunch, and she had the most beautiful glowing skin. Now she wasn't an older woman, but she wasn't in her 20s either. I mean, she was probably in the middle there. And I said, "You have such beautiful skin. What's your secret?" And she said, "Olive oil."
Oh,
And I
you
said,
do have
she said,
olive oil.
well, I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, I actually every morning I put olive oil on my skin."
I thought you're supposed to eat it.
Well,
not
that,
put
I'm
it on
sure
your
that
skin.
too.
No, I
But-
know people have told me olive oil, and I go, "What? You put it on your face?" No, you put it in your food.
Well, that too. That's
Oh, I
good
didn't
for you.
know
That's
that.
good for your.
So she puts olive
She
oil.
puts a
on?
little olive oil on her face, and then she does her whatever she does for the makeup, and it gives her a glow. But then she told me, and this is where
Oh,
I'm
I'm
going
gonna
with
go
coffee
try
grounds.
olive oil.
Coffee
Yeah.
grounds. She said another secret I do. She says is you mix coffee grounds in with the olive oil and use it to exfoliate your skin. And she said this is coffee grounds that have already been brewed, not fresh.
Yeah.
So you take some of those and you put it in the olive oil and it exfoliates your skin.
Did you try it?
I haven't yet, no.
Are you?
I think I will.
Really?
Yeah, I think I
Oh,
will.
well, let me know. What about the coffee grounds getting all over everything? And
Well, then you need someone to come in and clean up.
you got to be kidding.
I'm not kidding. And not only that, we were talking about my daughter. When my mother was still living, obviously when she was still living, she would she would have this routine at night where she'd be lying down watching TV, lying down on her bed watching TV. And my daughter was only 4, maybe 5 at the time. And my mother would have cucumbers on her eyes.
Oh, yeah, well, I heard of
And skim
that.
milk.
Yeah, she did
Milk
that?
on her
Oh,
face.
skim milk?
Yeah.
Oh, I never
And
heard of that.
little-
I
little
heard of
girl-
oatmeal. The oatmeal.
That
is
too.
the
She'd
skim.
say, "Oh, Nana, why do you have cucumbers on your eyes? And why do you have milk on your face?"
Well,
But
think of it. Thousands of years ago, with the queens and everything, they didn't have makeup to buy and things like that. They used natural ingredients like the flowers, red
Sure.
from the flowers.
And that's where a lot of this came from. Now, speaking of scams, though, it's not exactly a scam, but again, about cosmetics. This was on the news not long ago, where because the FDA doesn't regulate cosmetics the same way that it does other foods and drugs. I guess it's not considered a drug, really, but so what happens is there's a lot of cosmetics that have ingredients that can cause reactions like rashes and those sorts of things. And a lot of people have complained about those, let alone the ones that could be carcinogenic, that could cause
Didn't
problems.
we meet somebody whose hair became bald? She used the product.
That's right.
And it
somebody-
took out all her hair?
Yes, that's
And-
right.
and-
So this is about hair
Yeah.
products and skin products. That obviously it's an individual situation. Maybe something would bother you and it wouldn't bother me, but if it does, what they recommended on this program, it's a consumer-oriented program, was to write to the FDA and let them know, because that's the only way that they'll be able to investigate. And even though it's not
that's
illegal,
interesting.
it could be something that's it's enough of a problem that people should be aware of it and either not use the
Well,
product or use
how-
it with caution.
How about the ones that grow back hair? You don't see many of them around. Or there's a favorite, I won't say which ad it is, it's a pillow ad though. I've met a lot of people that have bought those pillows and nobody likes them.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think it's a scam, but
Yeah.
boy, I mean, that's like, people will buy anything.
Well, since you're an attorney, it may not be a scam sometimes, but what kind of rules or what kind of laws are there against false claims in advertising? There must be something, right?
Well, yeah, well, that I know. I don't even have to look it up. Well, a product has to be marketable. It has to be fit for the purpose that which it was intended. So if I sell you a cucumber and I'm telling you, use this to put on your eyes or something, and it hurts your eyes, well then even though it's cucumber to be eaten, if you purposely bought the special cucumber, or anything of this, then you would have a case against me. Not just for the price of the cucumber. I mean, I'm really stretching it with the cucumber, but for the
That's
damage
because it's your
did.
favorite food, cucumbers. That's the reason.
I love cucumbers.
I know you
love
do.
cucumbers. I always loved them, even as a kid.
I did too.
You do? Oh, I love them. But anyway, today you just buy stuff. The thing there. I was looking. Now I was looking. Talk about things that don't bother you. Like certain things bother my skin. Like the bug sprays. I can spray myself double, and they still get me.
Imagine that.
They still get me, and if I don't scratch it, it'll itch me until I do.
Oh, is that right?
It's like they're out to get me.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, in that case, it doesn't bother you as much as it's just ineffective for you, right?
Yeah, it's ineffective. Isn't that funny? It should be. Coffee grinds, we have to, believe it or not, we have to go. But coffee grinds, for years I heard you put it in your plants.
Oh, really?
After they're cooked, put
Really?
them in your plants. They're good for your plants.
No kidding. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I have something else here, too. I mean, there's so much to do. I mean, we've had... We cover everything. We cover, we had that one show, The New Topic, from Stuart Hirsch, Care and Show That You Care, about unconscious gender discrimination, and there was something on that that came up, and somebody said to me, "What do you think? Do you think that's discrimination?" I says, "Yeah, that's unconscious." Unconscious discrimination, and it was where a little boy was getting out of hand, and at a group, and the girl, the monitor or whoever it was, said, "If you don't watch it, little kid, I'll take the whip to you." So now this was a black organization, and the woman spoke to the person and said, "You're a racist." And they asked me, "Well, what did I think?" I said, "Well, I think that is a discriminatory, because if the kid was white, what they would have said was, 'I'll call the cops on you.'" Right? Isn't that what the parents do?
That's right.
"I'll call the cops on you." Interesting. So because of that show, the unconscious, the person says, "Well, I'm not a racist." Yeah, unconscious. That's what Stuart was talking about.
Exactly.
Unconscious gender.
To make the unconscious become
except he
more
says
conscious.
the unconscious gender, especially with this cross-gender stuff.
Exactly.
But anyway, I was going to talk about mortgages, but
we'll catch that the next time.
Let's go next
All
time.
right.
Yeah, this is a wonderful wrap.
It
And a
absolutely
wrap
is.
that you don't eat. You can eat a wrap.
No kidding.
And then you can
You gotta be kidding.
wrap.
Okay. Well, it was fun as
It
always.
was always and informative.
Yes.
I
So
know-
we
I
want
know
to
I
thank
guess
we want to
love it.
thank our viewers again for tuning in today.
Yes.
And we want to hear from you if you have any questions or any ideas about something on the show or something you'd like to see on the show. Because remember, this is your show. The law, your money, and you.